Good morning. We have the pleasure of welcoming Juan, who is Senior Supply Chain Director for France and Benelux for Kellogg Company. Hi, Juan.
Good morning.
Good morning. So lockdown restrictions and family at home have had massive impact on supply chain and delivery. So I guess resilience also applies for cornflakes. Before starting, can you briefly introduce Kellogg's for us?
Certainly. Kellogg's has been a company that has been more than 100 years feeding millions of people around the world. It's the world's leading plant-based food, and it has iconic brands such as Cocoa Pops, Tresor, Extra, or Pringles. It's the #1 in breakfast cereal and #2 in salty snacks. And in France, we are around 180 employees. Sales in 2019 was 345 million euros, and we represent about 43% of the market. And my supply chain, the supply chain that I manage, it's made of 3 teams. I've got customer service, I've got demand planning, and short-term planning and execution, whereas the manufacturing and the global planning is organized centrally.
Okay, great. So I imagine that recently you've had to review completely the way you work in terms of organization, process. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about that?
Exactly. The immediate change we had to do was adapting to the new situation, working from home, and that was a natural change for us in a sense that our IT was ready to do that change. But obviously that was more difficult, taking into consideration the right balance between professional life and personal life. So we tried to make it quite more friendly for everybody. So we organize coffee, virtual coffees, we organize events. So we tried to make it easy for everybody and stay connected. I would say from a supply chain, particularly our sales and operations, had to be very dynamic. And we had to change. We had to introduce what we were seeing in the markets. We had brands that they were doing really well, and other brands were not doing that well, reacting to the new consumer habits. And what we have done is to take that experience that we had in 2020 and implement it in 2021. So that knowledge of those brands, where we knew that they had a maximum deviation versus the volume that we sold, we applied now 2 factors. We apply a likelihood factor and a percentage of how much of the maximum volume we think it will happen. So the combination of both, now we introduce as an additional volumes that we see, that we can reflect in our planning. So basically, we have a risk management. We manage that uncertainty, and we can project even beyond what the government are indicating to us and decide collectively what is the best approach. That is in sales and operations, but we also have been boosting our digital offer. So, for example, we have invested in a new forecasting tool that is allowing us to have a better understanding by SKU, by reference, at customer level, and we expect to have between 3 to 5% increase in our forecasting. It's using artificial intelligence, so that digital offer or that digital investment is really important for us as well. We have also to review our portfolio. Customers have been asking us to improve our agility, to be more faster in the recovery process. And looking at our processes, we realized that we could boost or accelerate the optimization of our catalog. That is very important. So we look at not only the size of the catalog, but also the complexity of the catalog. If we reduce complexity and size of the catalog, we can release capacity. And that is a good answer when we have a situation where we have to react quickly to the peak of demands. And then lastly, but very important as well, is to stay connected and our teams. And the way we manage is not the same to be all the time in the office when you have a face-to-face and a relationship like that, than when you have to move completely 100% to a digital relationship. That has been a bigger change as well for us, a big change for us. Stay connected, develop our team, taking care of them. advancing in the e-learning, all these areas has been very important and very, very different to what we used to do as well. The other area as well is partnering. We realize that end-to-end is critical for our business, just internally, but also externally. So those are some of the changes we introduced.
Yeah, a lot of changes with this crazy year that we've had. And what about customer experience, the relationship you have with them today? Have you noted any changes on that side?
Sure. Customers, we realize that working together between customers and ourselves, it's critical to go through difficult periods like this one. We have increased our communication with them. They have also in return been far more open and sharing with us their insights. And that coordination is critical. Aligning on the strategies, being sure that we had the right stock allocation, that we were focusing on the right SKUs, that we knew what customers were doing with the safety stocks. That was critical to understand, so we could integrate it in our planning as well. I would say that during this period, we've been very open, very transparent with our customers. We've been explaining to them what we could, what we couldn't do. And they have understood the situation. And as a result of that, we have projects of collaboration that are accelerating, which is very, very good. And I would say that our tier one customers, our relationship is stronger right now. And it's the dynamic we want to continue in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think a lot of companies have come to these same conclusions, that it's actually made them stronger and closer. And what would you take away from these past few months? Can we say that there was actually a before and after in supply chain?
Certainly, in some areas there has been a before and after, but I think that above all the things, I think what I would take the most is the reaction of the team and how resilient, how committed, how determined they have been. It has been very inspiring, and let's be very clear and very honest as well. Without them, we would have not achieved anything in 2019. So, if anything, we knew at Kellogg's, it's part of our culture, that people is at the top of the agenda. However, I think this time has reminded us the importance of that, and we're accelerating and going further on that respect.
Okay, and with maybe a third lockdown coming up, what about the panic buying? Is that something that you've anticipated?
Panic buying, it's something that it was not frequent and it was not known in 2019. So now we know that that can happen. We have seen a reaction from the consumers following the different decisions, so that is clear. As a result of that, that's the table that I put before in terms of managing that uncertainty. We see not so much a panic buying, but just a trend of consuming according to the confinement rules. So certainly there is a change in the sales pattern depending on the situation.
Of course, and for our audience today, what would be your key learnings that you could maybe provide them with?
If I would just summarize in 3 key learnings, the first one is making sure people is at the top of the agenda. As I said several times before, stay connected, protect the team, and empower them. It's very, very important that we look after them and we develop to the full of their capabilities. The second one is to have that continuous improvement mindset, especially in your sales and operations. Sales and operations cycle is the heart and soul of the supply chain. And to have that approach of being dynamic, learning from the past, see what changes you can put in the future, and encourage the team to take decisions in order to provoke changes as well. That is very key. And the last one is end-to-end partnering. Not only internally between your team or within your team, but also with other services, and externally with customers. The strength of a collaborative approach and the benefits of that is a lot higher than having individuals, high-performing individuals, but working in silos.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Juan, for coming to give us your key insights today.
You're
It was
welcome.
a pleasure having you here, and I hope we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.